Oh, hello. Good day. Always such a wonderful pleasure and privilege to be with you. This Sunday, always used to be called the Feast of Corpus Christi, is now called the Feast of the Most Holy Body and Blood of Christ. In the first reading from Genesis, in those days Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine, and being a priest of God Most High, he blessed Abram with these words: Blessed be Abram by God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who delivered your foes into your hands. Melchizedek is really a prototype of the sacrificing, the system of sacrifices of the Middle Eastern world, where the Jewish people, the Hebrew people, came from. That system of sacrifices carries over into Jesus. When a sacrifice was offered, sometimes the sacrifice, part of it will be completely consumed, especially the blood. But then at the same time, part of it would be, so to speak, cooked like an open fire, and then be consumed by high priest, maybe members of his family, or by those perhaps by those offering the sacrifice. Because the sacrifice was offered up to God, something of divinity was there in the sacrifice. By consuming the sacrifice, something of divinity, something of the Godhead, came into the people and blessed them. Jesus, in that tradition, offers himself up, so that as he offers up the bread and the wine, and the bread and wine becoming him through his power as God, becomes his body and blood. By consuming the bread, the wine, the body and blood of Christ, we take on, in the sacrament of the Eucharist, we take on his divinity, enters into us and blesses us and nourishes us in the spiritual life. When Jesus feeds in the gospel reading the multitude, they all ate and were satisfied. At the very end of the gospel reading, he multiplies the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. And when they take up, so that nothing is wasted, they take up what was left over. There are 12 wicker baskets left over, clearly showing the miraculous multiplication of loaves and fish. God's overflowing, abundant goodness. He feeds his people. In this case, physically, but as a way of saying to them, I'm giving to you much more than what I give to your body. I'm giving to your soul. In receiving this food, learn to receive me into your life, so that I am your life. There's the key. So that I am your spiritual life. And also help to sustain your physical life. Anything that is good comes from God. Anything that is truly good comes from God. But most especially sustains us in our spiritual life, the life that is forever. Okay. In the second reading, Paul says, I received from the Lord what I also handed on to you, that the Lord Jesus Christ, on the night he was handed over to be sacrificed on the cross, took bread, and after he had given thanks, broke it, and said, This is my body that is for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And then the cup, this is the cup of the covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. He says, okay, that my body is for you, for your benefit. Okay, connecting to what he had said before, in the night he was handed over to be sacrificed on the cross. You proclaim, and then over in the cup he says, for as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the death of the Lord until he comes. Proclaim the sacrifice of the Lord until I come in the second coming. That I have given myself for your benefit, so that you might have life, have it in abundance, and have it forever in heaven. The Lord has given himself as the food for our lives, helping us physically in our sicknesses, whatever problems we have. But most especially, he gives us the spiritual life. Really, what he's saying to us is you have a choice to make. If you just want to live a physical life without me, like the animals of this world, then you need not receive me. But then your life is worthless. It's here one day and gone tomorrow. But if you receive me as the food of your spiritual life, the food that brings you into heaven one day, the food that gives you your spiritual life, which you enjoy now and in forever in heaven, then you have everything. You have the greatest treasure on earth. Receive me then, and I will be your life. As we grow in his spiritual life, as we grow in his life within us, we learn what a joy it is. Daily we grow in the joy of the Lord, because we live in the Lord, and the Lord lives within us. May the Lord bless us on this sacred and precious feast.